What's up, guys? It's Jay, MorninAfterKill, and I'm back here on my road to 30. This is a series that I do on my channel where once a week we take a look at 1 year in my life and we talk about the memories and significant events that have come to shape the person that I am today. And right now, I am 29 motherfucking years old, and by the time this series is over, I will be 30 motherfucking years old. And this is episode 9. So that's right, in this episode, I am 9 motherfucking years old. So, anyway, this marks a pretty significant time in my life, and I didn't know it back then, but it actually really was, looking back, that this marks the year that my mother finally gets us off welfare, and we become kind of like a lower middle class. We still don't have any money, but you know what? We have enough money for food, and we don't have to put water inside of our cereal or eat ramen noodles 3 times a motherfucking week. Or because my mom worked at a pizza place, she used to bring pizza home often, which seems kind of cool, but when you eat pizza like 3-4 times a motherfucking week for dinner, it kind of sucks motherfucking ass. So, anyway, as much shit as I talk about my mom for being a high school dropout, a career waitress, and this is actually the job that she gets right here this year that got us off welfare, is the job that she works at for the next 16 motherfucking years, all the way up until I'm about like 25 years old, which is a long time to be working not only any job but a waitress job, because my mom used to pull a lot of double shifts, which means she would go in at like 8 o'clock in the morning and not get off until 8 o'clock at night, which left me and my brother a lot of time to really just kind of fuck around and become real big assholes. And as big of an asshole as I am, my brother was about 5 times the asshole I was and started getting into a lot of trouble in school. When I mean trouble in school, I'm talking about some really deep shit that I'm not going to go into right now. We'll talk about that at another time. But right now, this is giving me a lot of time and a lot of space as a 9-year-old kid to find my dark side, because we didn't have a lot of adult supervision at this time, so I'm able to get away with more shit because my brother was watching me. So I came home one day, my brother was sitting in a room, and he was sitting there smoking a cigarette. And I was kind of like, say what? You know, I'm 9 years old, my brother right now is probably about 11 years old, and that's the last thing you expect to see when you walk into your room that's filled with, like, we had toys and stuffed animals, not really like cool shit, but just like kind of shit laying around, and it's like a regular little kid's room, you know, toys on the floor. We had the bunk beds and shit like that. Not very good bunk beds, mind you. They were actually made of metal. I know bunk beds today are made of wood, but bunk beds back then were made of metal, and sometimes a little shit would fucking catch you and you get, maybe you have to go get a tetanus shot. You never know. So, anyway, not talking about the bunk beds, I walk in, and my brother's sitting there smoking a motherfucking cigarette. And he was like, this is cool. You gotta try this. So he hands me a cigarette. I'm 9 years old, and I take a puff. I'm like, you know, fucking disgusting, right? So, I mean, this is the first time that I'm actually ever smoking. And then my mom comes home, and she finds out that her cigarettes inside of her room are missing. And she goes looking for them. And do you know where she finds them? That's right. My brother's sneaky ass put them inside my motherfucking dresser underneath my motherfucking socks. And since I smoked with him, he's smart too. He got me to smoke with him. My mom came over, smelled my hands. I wasn't smart enough to do what my brother did and go to the bathroom and wash his hands. I didn't think about it. I'm 9 years old. I didn't know that cigarettes, like, you know, make your hands smell like cigarettes and shit like that. Because I wasn't really a fidgety kid with my hands near my mouth. Not yet. I will start a nail biting habit that actually still lasts to today. I can't stop biting my motherfucking nails. But that's not the topic of the commentary. What we're talking about is my brother. He kind of got away with smoking by framing me for smoking, by trying to get me to be quote-unquote cool with him by smoking a motherfucking cigarette. So I got in a lot of motherfucking trouble. And this is where I was like, man, I really hate you, motherfucker. I really hate you. And this is right around the time, somewhere around here, I'm pretty sure, I stabbed my brother with a pencil. And when I stabbed him with a pencil, I mean, I put this thing like 1.5 inches right into his fucking chest. It was sticking out. It wasn't floppy or nothing. It was sturdy in there, like King Arthur's motherfucking sword, or the Camelot sword. I don't know what the fuck. The sword in the stone. The sword in the motherfucking stone. And, you know, I got in a lot of trouble for that. You're not allowed to stab your siblings. Do not do that. Pencils are dangerous. I've made a commentary about that before. If you want to go ahead and search it, go ahead. But I'm not going to link that in the description below, because that's not the topic of the commentary. So, anyway, I'm getting in trouble because of my brother, and my brother starts getting in trouble in school, and I start to learn things for myself by watching my brother about how to be sneaky, and I start getting in trouble in school. I was really into these cards back in the day called Marvel Masterpieces, and being a really sneaky kid, I used to go into my mom's room and steal like 6 quarters a day, and these packs of cards were probably about $3, which back in the day was very expensive. I'm talking about back when you could buy like fucking toilet paper was like 20 cents, a gallon of gas was like 90 cents, so $3 for a pack of cards was fucking ridiculous. My mother would have never given me the money, but I used to steal a couple quarters a day to make sure I get these cards, and I brought them to school, and I was showing them off with my friends, and I got in trouble, and the teacher was like, if you want to get these cards back, she took my cards, my $3 pack of cards. They were expensive as fuck, but they were beautiful X-Men cards. They're called Marvel Masterpieces. If you don't know what they are, go Google them. You can look at them. You're like, God damn, those are some really cool fucking cards. Especially back in like 92, I think this was. Somewhere around there. This is very early 90s. So the teacher took them away from me, and she put them in her desk, and she locked the desk, and I'm not going to be able to get them back unless I get my mom to sign a fucking note saying that I'm sorry for bringing my cards to school. Now my mom knows that I'm not supposed to have these cards. She doesn't even know about them. So I gotta figure out a way to get my mother's signature on the actual note that I wrote for my teacher. So what I did was I took a blank piece of paper, right? And I did my spelling work on it, and I made sure it only listed about half of the paper, right? And I asked my mom, I was like, hey mom, can you sign this for me? I need you to sign my homework to make sure you checked it. And my mom later said she's not very smart. She was like, oh, alright. She came over and signed the paper, right? You know what I did? Whoosh. I ripped that piece of paper in half, and I fucking wrote the note on the bottom underneath my mother's signature, and I took that to school. And these are little things that started to add up to me becoming the quintessential bad kid and a really asshole of a son. And I mean, really, seriously though, I wanted those cards back when you're a kid. You really don't want to get caught stealing from your parents. And I don't recommend stealing from your parents, but like I said, you know, I was just a bad kid. We didn't have a lot of supervision because my mom was working a lot now, and you know, we got away with a lot of shit. So, I got my cards back, and this is pretty much where I had my mother's signature now on a piece of paper, and as time goes on, and they would send like progress reports and bad report cards home, I actually learned how to use my artistic talent because I can draw. You know, I have a photographic memory. I'm very mechanically inclined with my hands. So I actually learned how to forge my mother's signature, which means when I have no liaison between my mom, because she's working so much, and school, the only thing they have are report cards, progress reports, things to send home in the mail, and answer machines. I got that shit all on lock. So with both of us, with very little supervision, are both raising hell in motherfucking school, and I'm pretty sure that my brother's problem in school stemmed from the fact that he had like an intestinal digestive problem, and he would shit his pants on like a daily basis. I know I shit my pants once in school. That was because I was sick. My brother actually had some type of problem, and literally he didn't know when he had to shit, and it would just come out, and he would shit himself. And this right here really comes to a really bad point in the story, because my mom had to actually make sure my brother drank this shit called like mineral oil and Metamucil, and then she had to make him sit on a fucking can for like an hour, because after you drink that shit, you're gonna shit, and since he didn't know he was gonna shit, he needed to sit on the fucking toilet. So when it comes out, and he used to fucking yell and scream and didn't want to do this, and my mom was a very physical motherfucking bitch. I've told you guys this before, you know, I didn't really mention it throughout my road to 30 yet, but my mom, when she has a problem, she slaps shit. She slaps people, she throws shit, and my mom is so good at throwing shit, she could throw a shoe the front motherfucking door, and it will stop at my friend's house, knock on the door, wait for the door to open, and the shoe will fly in and hit me while I'm across the motherfucking street at my friend's house. That is how fucking crazy my mom is. But yes, she had to make sure that my brother did all this shit. And things are starting to come to a head. And this is the very moment where everything pretty much breaks loose and my whole life is just ripped apart because I've witnessed what in my mind, my mother raped my brother. And I know you guys are gonna be like, what? I'm gonna say this again real slow. My mother, she raped my brother. And I know you're gonna be like, this is not rape after I tell you the story, because, like I said, he had to take all these medications to make sure that he shit properly, and sometimes he was constipated and his ass would just start flowing, and, you know, all this weird shit would happen. So, I heard a loud bang and screaming coming from the bathroom, and evidently my mother had to give my brother an enema. That was per doctor's orders. Now, like I said, my mom is not a very patient woman. So what I walked in on was my brother down on all four floors all floors in the bathtub with my mom. She had her fucking knee, like, on his neck, holding his fucking head down to the ground, and she's shoving a tube up his ass. And it is a very ugly sight. Now, I know she wasn't raping my brother, but the fact that she fucked up one of his teeth and, like, slammed my brother's face down into the fucking bathroom, into the tub, the floor of the tub, it was really, really shitty. And this is where things come to a head, because right around this time, my brother really can't stand living with my mother, and my mother cannot stand and keep control of my brother, who's getting in trouble way more than I am at school. And my mom thinks I'm a perfect angel at this point because I've cut off all contact between my mom and the school with my forgeries of her signatures, so she thinks I'm a perfect angel at this point, which I kind of feel bad about. I really do. And, you know, my brother was taking a tube up his ass so he didn't shit himself. And it was crazy. It was crazy. It's like, I started thinking, man, if I'm bad, is she gonna shove a tube up my ass? So, anyway, what ended up happening is that my mother got in contact with my father, who I don't really consider my father after this point, because I've never met him. I've maybe been around his presence once or twice in my life before this, and he comes walking in, and he puts his arm around my brother, starts talking to him, shit like that. And my mom, and quote-unquote my father, they find that it's best if my brother goes to live with my father and his stepmother to try to straighten him out. And this is the point to where, like, you know, I tried talking to my father there, and he wouldn't look at me, he wouldn't talk to me, he wouldn't acknowledge that I motherfucking existed. And this right here fucks my whole world up, because this is where I start to think. I look at him and I look at my mom. I don't kind of really look like my mom, but I really don't look like my dad. The only thing that right now that I actually have of my father is very, very long hair, but I don't really think that that's from him. I just think because I like long motherfucking hair. So, at this point, my brother goes to live with my fucking father, and, you know, I start looking at things a little bit differently, you know? I start feeling like, you know, somebody's lying to me in this family, and I'm gonna fucking get to the bottom of this. And I asked my grandpa, I was like, do you know who my dad is? And, you know, of course, he comes out and says that my father is my father, and I told him, you know, I really don't think so, and he goes, look, I know so. Your mother came to me and asked me for $500 to get the abortion because she didn't want to have his kid. And I was like, boom! My head was like right out the fucking window. I was like, what? And I was like, it's like, so you're saying if you gave my mom the $500, I would have never been born? And he was like, pretty much. And I mean, my grandpapa was a real big heavy drinker back then. I'm sure right then he didn't mean to say that, but he was kind of soused, kind of drunk. I don't really give a fuck, because he kept it real, he kept it straight with me, and he gave me the man's answer. And you know what? I really do respect him for that right now, even though at 9 years old, with a fragile child's mind, after just seeing, like, his father won't talk to him, his brother just got raped by his mom and moved out, the brother that I've, you know, shared a room with my entire life, and my grandpa just said that my life is worth $500. I was like, damn. And shit's gonna get real after that. Shit's gonna get real bad. And this is the point to where, like I said, I started to find my dark side a little bit. And this is the point to where I just really give in and just stop giving a fuck about everything. And shit's gonna get really fucked up in my teenage years, starting out when I'm 10 years old. So, my name is Jay, MorninAfterKill. Make sure you guys rate, comment, subscribe. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you could throw a thumbs up on the video, I would highly appreciate it because it gives me motivation to see the support from you guys to not only make these videos personal, but also weekly. It is a very big motivation to me, so I want to thank you guys for watching. So, my name is Jay, MorninAfterKill. Make sure you guys rate, comment, subscribe. I want to thank you guys for watching. See you guys later.